Hi and welcome to another Photoshop tutorial. This time I'm looking at saving your files, and you might think, oh, hit save, it's all done. So I've created something here in Photoshop, and if in fact I do hit save, what will happen is it will save it as a Photoshop file. And I'll call this, I don't know, work 1 for the first bit of project work I'm doing, and I'll go save. Saves it for maximum compatibility. Now this retains all this layer information, all the masks, all the work I've done on the photo, and it's a great working file, and I'd strongly suggest that you save in that format. However, if I'm saving something suitable for other uses, such as I've worked on a photograph I've produced and I want to publish it in a magazine, then I might save it as a JPEG file depending on what the company wants, or as a TIFF file, or as a range of other different file types. And as you can see in this list, when you go to Save As type, Photoshop gives you a huge amount of options. So we'll go as JPEG. And that will allow me to save it. It'll come up with some options. Now these options, some of these are actually really useful, especially in the JPEG area. I can adjust the file compression on it to basically make how aggressive the algorithm to compress this file will be. If I'm saving for the web, I might make it progressive so that as the file loads, it comes up with more and more precise, more detailed versions of that image. So, and it gives you a bit of a file size on the side here, 1.3, and then with 3 previews, that sort of stuff. And I can save that, click OK, and it should come up with a save option. Obviously, it doesn't want to today. File, save as, JPEG. There, saved work1.jpg, so it already actually has saved. Now, if I want to adjust this image to simplify it, so I can go to image mode, and I can see I've got RGB color, 8-bit channels, which is what I created the file in the first place. If I had a more complex image, say 32-bit channel, I could drop that to an 8-bit. And the channel refers to color channel, so how much color information it's retaining. If I wanted to go for a grayscale image, I can then adjust for that, or any of the range options listed here. However, that's not even our best option, because in this case, I can go export. I can export as a PNG, which is yet another file type. I can export as, which gives me more options of the exportation stuff. Come on, Photoshop. Yeah, good Photoshop. Processing, thinking, my poor little laptop's trying to cope with this. And it's also the first time I've done it, so it will take a little longer. But getting back to the file types, while this is working on stuff, you can notice here that it's got the file size. So this is the actual original size of the image. It's got the actual megabyte size, so how much file space it's going to occupy. And I'm then given options of what I can do with it. So I can actually reduce the size of the image and the canvas. So there's the actual picture, and then there's the actual what it appears on. And the various resampling techniques used to make it smaller. I usually just go with bicubic automatic because I don't ever think to click this sort of stuff. And then finally I can accept it. You can also go for different file types. Every file type has its benefits and its detriments. So PNGs are highly detailed, but they tend to be bigger. JPEGs and they are lossless. JPEGs are lossy, i.e. they lose information, but they're also really small when compared to a standard file type. And they can have millions of colors. They don't allow transparency though. GIFs allow transparency, but they're limited to about 250 colors. And SVGs, which are scalable vector graphics, are really good for line drawings and that sort of stuff. I'm not too sure how they would scale in terms of the detail. PNGs also handle transparency, so PNGs and GIFs both handle transparency. PNGs and JPEGs both handle lots of colors, great for photos. GIFs and SVGs I think are better targeted for a limited range of colors. However, to make life really easy for everybody, export save for the web. This saves images for the web. Automated, tidied up, everything you need. So it does a very simplified color table, and if I zoom out, you can see the hideous colors that I've selected. As you can see, it's given me a GIF file type. I might change that to a JPEG because it might survive a little better in the process. Thinking about it, still thinking. But depending on what file you want is what it'll give you. So here, the JPEG, I'll make it progressive so it'll load in chunks. Still thinking, and I end up with my image. I might even do some pre-processing. If I was to go back and do this again, I might shrink the size of the image to get it to more workable. If I go save, it will then save it as an image. Well, I'm going to hit cancel at this point because I don't really want to save it. And that's saving, different forms of saving, depending on what you want to end up with. So being aware of your file type is in fact critically important. Alright, thank you, and I'll talk to you next time.